Hello, fabulous female entrepreneurs. My name is Sabine Matharu, and I'm a business startup and growth strategist. And today's topic is about content creation. So, if you are a female entrepreneur who is struggling to create content that then turns into paying customers, you are at the right place. And the thing is, I think we all are struggling with content at some point, especially when we get started. The question is, what kind of content do we create? How are we showing up? Who are we talking to? And how can we actually create something that really works and that turns people into paying customers and gets them to take action? So there's a few things that you can actually think about when it comes to content creation and reduce the overwhelm. One of the things that when I started, now I've been in business for probably years or so, coaching female entrepreneurs how to start their business, how to grow their business, how to create an email list, how to create their courses and programs. And it always comes up. Once you start create an email list, it's that overwhelm. What I'm going to send out as emails? How do I create emails? And how do I show up on social media? Do I need to do Facebook Lives? Do I need to show up? Yes, you do. You do need to show up for yourself and for your clients. How will they know that you exist? How will they know that you can actually help them with whatever you do? So, content creation is key. There is a way to create content, and there's a way to create content that it feels like less onerous, okay? That reduces the overwhelm, that makes it a bit more easy, and you can really put your passion into it, and it feels like it's easy. It just comes out of you. I think that's really something to remember to get into that zone. And some of you may be actually more writers. You probably like writing. Maybe writing isn't your thing. Like sometimes I just don't feel like writing and I just feel like going live on a video and just maybe put some bullet points together and just talk about it. In theory, you could then also transcribe a video and create it into written text, right? So that's one way to do it. You could also create a podcast. So, if you're not a writer, you can just record and talk about things. So it's all possible. So there's many different ways to create content, but the key is that you are out there, that you are making something that's relevant to your audience, that speaks to them, and that helps them solve a problem. So here are a few tips help you get started. And then I'm also going to share a few tips as to how to keep your mindset in check. So there is obviously a strategy around the content creation. And there is a mindset thing around this as well about overgiving, about maybe not feeling good enough, not having enough content or good enough content. It has to be all perfect. So I'm going to talk about these two things, about the strategy and the mindset. And by the way, if you are wanting more of this information, I'm leaving a link above or below the video or the audio somewhere so you can actually check out what your next steps would be in terms of content creation. You can join and get reminders every week when I'm live, when any of the videos and audios are coming out. So you can just go and grab that. So, content creation hacks. Number one, ask yourself the first question you want to ask yourself is, who do you serve? Of course, you need to really understand your target market. And we always talk about business, understand who that is. But you need to understand a few things about your audience. And there's a way to actually understanding them and asking the right questions. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So, firstly, is who do you serve? What are the problems? And what steps do you teach them? Right. So there's two things here. Number one, who you serve, what are their problems? How can you find out? Right. You might want to find out by doing a survey. Of course, you could do officially a survey, you could use SurveyMonkey and other tools, or you could do a soft survey, and that's evergreen. It's always happening. You could do this through Facebook posts, for example. You could ask questions about your audience, which are quite soft questions. just a one-liner. And most of the time, these posts could go viral. For me, they go viral because it's a question that people can answer very easily, and they want to also know what other people are actually answering to their question. Like, for example, in my Facebook group, I ask, so on a Monday, it could be like, what's one thing you're going to focus on this week? So it gives my audience a chance to actually put down what they like think about, okay, what I'm going to focus on this week actually. And most of the time they come up with some work related thing that they have to go and do in their business. I want to create a sales funnel, or I want to figure out a way how to get organized better. Well, that gives me quite some intelligence around what my audience actually is working on and potentially the kinds of things they need support with. There's one way to find out, and I could actually go and create content around that, how to get super duper organized in your business so that you can reduce overwhelm and you can work 2 hours less every day, or how to build a sales funnel in a weekend. That's what I do that all the time. So I could talk about that or run through the process or do a video around that. So there's many ideas, right? So that's one thing. And then the second thing I said, after who do you serve, what are their problems, and sort of doing a bit of a survey, the second thing is, what are the steps? What are things that you do that you teach someone or coach them through when you have a client? Do you have a step-by-step system or a roadmap? And I call it the signature solution. So the signature solution is a step-by-step process or modules, or however you pillars, however you want to call it, the things that you are teaching every single time. And that usually there is a kind of an order to this as well. So before you do, so there's always like a starting point. When you get a new client, what is it exactly you do with them at the beginning? What's the second step? What's the third step? So, for example, I have a signature solution, which is called the 9 Steps to Predictable Sales in Less than 90 Days for female entrepreneurs who want to grow an online business without overwhelm and frustration. So my 9 steps are focusing on creating predictable sales, increasing income and impact in less than 90 days. So now we have a time frame, which is quite handy because people want immediate gratification as well and see some results. So now you could talk about how to create something fairly fast, get some quick wins in the business or in your life. My first step, for example, is goal setting, right? So when it comes to goal setting and doing an audit around your business, you could be asking yourself a couple of questions. First and foremost, well, what are things that I didn't know when it comes to goal setting? Why is goal setting actually important? What are pitfalls in terms of not doing it well enough and maybe not following through the goals? So what are the kind of topics that are really interesting for my clients and potential clients? So those are the things you want to think about in terms of creating your content around. Because my roadmap is 9 steps, happens to be 9 steps, so I can easily create a month worth of content by just brainstorming 3 things of each of the steps. And yeah, so that's another way to do it. Ask those questions in terms of, what are the problems, what are the steps that you're teaching, because what you want to do is you want to create strategic content that is always on point, that always fits within what you're actually doing, what you're actually offering. You don't want to sit here and think, well, what I'm going to post today, and you're just going to pick anything. No, you want to pick something that fits with what you do, how you help people, and one of the steps perhaps that you're helping with. So you could say, well, this is today what I've talked about, like content creation that I'm talking about today is actually step 7 in my signature solution, which is all about getting visible and connecting with your customers. Now, there's 6 other steps before you can ever do this. If you want to know about these 9 steps, then message me. That kind of thing. You want to have a call to action. You want to frame where this sits and how you can help people as well. So what are other aspects? I guess in terms of the consumability, you want to make it easy to consume. You might want to pull in some questions, some content. It can be wrapped up in some interesting stories that people want to read. Show yourself, that you are vulnerable, that you are just like them. Like, for example, I had to start somewhere in my business. I wasn't born and I was a business coach overnight. I had challenges myself with family. I was working full time still in my job when I started, so I can talk about what the challenges were when it comes to having a full-time job and a family and then starting a business, and sort of juggling all of this, right? So bringing stories, bringing your own challenges, because people can really relate to that. um, there's another aspect here in terms of content creation. When you look at your audience, are there different levels of awareness in the audience? So are there people that really don't even know about your solution yet, and you need to really explain it to them without all the jargon? That's quite often something that happens with people who really know their stuff, experts, right? Therapists, consultants, they have certain methodologies, and they're throwing around with all these sort of vocabulary acronyms, and people may not be able to really understand unless they have already knowledge in this area. So be careful when it comes to the vocabulary acronyms that you're using, and describing the tools that you're using may not be necessary, because all the people need to know is that you are the one who can help them get to that result, and always focus on that result. Yes, focus on the pain points. This is where you might be right now. You're feeling frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you don't know how to create content that really connects with your audience. This is what you want to do. Here's a few A, B, and C, and this is what the outcomes will be. This is where you're moving towards. And it's not about you. Content shouldn't all be about you. Yes, state your credibility. You've been coach, consultant, course creator, did all this amazing stuff, worked with so many people. I've done it. I've been working with hundreds of women, done books, best-selling author, everything. So yes, that's great, but it's only in the context of what can you do for your audience, and are you qualified? Obviously, because I've been there, I can help you, because I've seen all the different processes and what's involved in building a business and overcoming technology. Because of that, I know I can help you. That's how we want to frame it. So it's less about you, it's about what's in it for your audience, and why are you the best person to help them. Okay, so that was a strategy type of bit. So it's about asking yourself, who is my audience? What are their problems? And really digging deep, and then creating content strategically around what you actually teach, and removing any jargon, any vocabulary that may be confusing. Make it straight to the point, easy. When it comes to formatting, if it's a written format, obviously you want to look at highlighting a few things, bullet points, using emojis on social media and all that kind of stuff, right? Of course, there's a whole visual aspect, which I'm probably not going to talk about today, in terms of how to visually make your content attractive, because you could create obviously banners, you could create infographics, all these nice kind of pictures that go with written word. And of course, there's a whole arena of content on other platforms like video, audio, and all that kind of stuff. But I think the beginning is always having something written, even if it's a couple of bullet points, whether you're going to create a video or podcast with that, or then an infographic. You always need to start with thinking about what content connects, what is strategic, and how do you want to present it. And it's always about serving your customer all the time. And you might be sitting here thinking, well, what if I give too much and then they don't want to come into my program? Well, I guess my opinion is you can never give enough. If you really truly there to serve, and demonstrate your expertise and really give people some value, they'll think, wow, if her free content is so amazing, what's her paid content going to be like? And believe me, it's not about giving information. It's about transformation. We can Google everything. We can go on YouTube. We can probably even find how to create sales funnels. And then you sit in there and trying to just figure it out yourself. And that's where you're going to get stuck, because you're not going to have the accountability. You don't have anyone to give you feedback when you're stuck. You can't ask any questions. That's where someone will come into a paid program, like, into Quantum Growth Academy, for example. That's what we do. That's how we help women move forward, and really giving them almost like the fill in the blank solution, and the hand holding. That's not going to be found on YouTube, and that won't be found for your clients in terms of how to really create that transformation. So don't ever think you can overgive. It's actually not possible. So the last thing I just want to say is, it's about the mindset. Quite often we may actually sabotage ourselves. And I'm not really a mindset coach, but obviously I just want to state the obvious. It's, we may feel we're not good enough to put this content out there. We may feel people are not listening or don't want to listen to us, or it's not valuable enough. And then we try to perfect ourselves. So perfectionism leads, unfortunately, to procrastination. And that means we're not getting out there. We're not reaching, the audiences. We're not making that impact. We're not making the income. So sometimes it's better to ditch the perfectionism, and we know it's good enough, right? We have something valuable to share. So sometimes I guess it's easier said than done, just to be fearless. Just fearless. Just think about it. If you couldn't, if you could be rejection proof in that sense, and think about, well, even if you were being judged, I mean, that's mostly um, the underlying challenge, that we feel like we're being judged when we are on social media, when we're sharing about ourselves and the content and about our expertise. But if we were rejection proof, what would happen? And also, if someone did judge you, what's going to happen? Really, nothing's going to happen physically to you, right? I know it feels like we always fear the worst, or someone's going to really put a odd comment on our video, or maybe someone's not going to comment at all. No one's watching my videos, no one's commenting. Believe me, people are watching. Even if they're watching the replay, people are watching. As long as you share with the heart at the right place, giving value, and solving a problem, supporting your client or your potential client, supporting a problem, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. So I think these were the kind of things I wanted to talk about in terms of content creation. Of course, there's so much. Could be like hours and hours of conversations. If you'd like to connect with me, I have a free Facebook group called Launch and Grow Your Online Business for Female Entrepreneurs. Send me a message either on Facebook, Instagram, or grab the free gift that I have underneath or on top of the video, wherever it is, and get on to my weekly updates when I do more of this kind of stuff. So you'll hear more about me, and feel free to reach out if you want to grow your business, your online business. You want to create a predictable system in your business where you can, know what content to create, know exactly how to connect with your customers, know how to put the technology in place, then connect. That's exactly what I do. So I look forward to seeing your comments. Let me know what your takeaway is, what you're going to be doing going forward in terms of content creation. It's probably a little bit easier now as than we made up. So don't let it sort of feel like overwhelmed in terms of, oh, now I have to put myself out every single day. There is probably a second chapter to this. It's like how to reutilize, so how to purpose the content. I'll probably do another video, another podcast on this as well. So I look forward to hearing your comments. Take care. We'll see you soon.